Okay, Larva X, new Tango update. We're gonna launch this sucker right out of the back of the truck, I think. Maybe off the roof of the car. Not that way. Watch how fast this sumbitch takes off. See very good. If you have any questions or comments that I might be able to answer, leave them in the comments section down below, and I'll try to answer them. If not, I'll refer you probably to somebody who can, or another video. And if you have any negative insults about my flying or my video skills or my information, go ahead and leave them down there too, because I get 50 cents an insult. So let's get down to what I did. The Tango 2 came with, I don't know, a certain firmware and a certain Freedom TX firmware and a certain SD card contents. Now I know my SD card contents were different than what should have been in there for the most recent updates, even though I just bought the radio, I don't know, a month or so ago. But when I hooked it up to a drone with the latest Crossfire firmware, I was having a lot of trouble getting it to get a good LQ. And so I made a little video walking around the house. I couldn't get the LQ above mode 1, and the RSSI was dropping real fast. The decibels were like minus 40 when I'd get about 10 feet away. Or yeah, I mean, and what you want is like a minus 20 is real close, and a 99% RSSI, and then your LQ should be 2:100. And you're not really even starting to get into trouble until you're at 1:100. Anyway, so I had to update the Freedom TX with the help of Mike Chen from TBS, and a video I'll post below, to 1.3, and you have to get the SD card contents for that update off of the firmware update for Freedom TX 1.29. It's in the release notes. It's a link. You save that to you download and save that little text file to your desktop or wherever. Then you do the TX, the Freedom TX update, and you do the Crossfire update. And then after you get done with that, what I did was I powered the radio off. I powered it and plugged it back on. You got to do all this in TBS Agent. And then on TBS Agent, the Tango, I put it in USB mass storage or whatever. So you're no longer in TBS Agent, you're in USB storage. And then I saved the contents of the SD card that were in there, and then I formatted the card. Even though that's not in the video, Mike said to do that, so I did. And then I copied the contents of the newest SD card contents into the radio. Now I lost my models, but I only had 1 or 2 in there. It's no big deal. You only need 1 model. I got 2 models I use. One for flying around the park with these little micros, and one that has a couple switches on it for GPS or whatever. I set them all up the same. So you only need really 1 or 2 models. If you get too many models, I mean, you can do it however you want, but you get too many models, to me, it just gets confusing and time consuming. And if you just set them all up the same, you're fine. And anyway, I put those contents in there. I powered off the radio, powered it back on, and then I bound and updated the firmware on this little Larva, and that went pretty smoothly, like Crossfire is supposed to. And today was my first flight. Now, even though LQ is in the OSD checked in Betaflight, it's not really showing up on here. But this is an old version of Betaflight. I think it's 3.9 or 4.0. And I had to use an aux channel and this and that. This firmware is pretty old. It doesn't even have the VTX table in it. And as far as I can tell, you can't even put one in there. There's no tab in Betaflight for it. What you do is you just set it up with a CLI command. And I set it up for race band 8 at power level 3, which is 200 milliwatts. And that's just where it stays. Now, supposedly, in smart audio, I could change that to anything I wanted, I guess, but it's going to stay on 8 unless there's some serious interference. I haven't even tried that. The point of this flight is not the drone, which is a fun little drone, and it's more just the TBS Tango update. So I'm using this drone, which was inexpensive and fun to fly, but the camera is terrible. As far as it's got a Caddx baby turtle, and it records. It says 1080 in the instructions, unless I got something set wrong. It's more like 480. Maybe I have something set wrong. But this is a good one to test because it already had a Crossfire on it when I bought it, and I used my Micro TX model. And when I bought that Micro TX for my Radio Master, I set it up one time, and I had like two little drones. I had an HX115 and this little Larva, and that was it. And I never changed anything, and they always flew just fine off of that radio. So this was a changing radios and changing the whole thing, because I have a dual sport motorcycle and I have a couple motorcycles, and I like to throw this stuff in a bag and kind of get away from the city. Like, this park is it's in an urban area. It's empty right now because one of the roads is blocked up there with construction, and nobody knows about the back entrance, I guess. The normal people who hang out here and shoot up or whatever the hell they do in this neighborhood. But anyway, so it's pretty empty today. It's great, actually. I've never seen it this empty on a day like today, which is beautiful. 75. It's very windy, but this is a great day to test it out. So I can't see the LQ, but as far as I can tell, the RSSI never went below 99, and I don't even have RSSI set up on the aux channel. It's just LQ, but I guess it reads out as RSSI. You know, I'm not an analog super expert, but anyway, those are the steps you need to take. I'll post the video below. That was fun. There you have it, the Larva and the Tango. What a great combination. Yeah, it's a fast little son of a bitch.